currently riding a skateboard while carrying another skateboard. Hi everyone. Shoe review. So for the past couple of videos, and if you're following my Instagram, past couple of Instagram clips, hold on, the exposure's going crazy. Okay, for the past couple of Instagram clips and YouTube videos, I've been skating these shoes. These are just plain old Converse with they're the white ones with, the red stripe, the white Converse. They were pretty terrible shoes. I hated them. So, the main point about them is how skinny they are. My feet are pretty wide. I generally have wider feet than... Why is this exposure? Okay, that's better. Now, they're just so skinny, and my feet are pretty wide, so they hurt my feet. Let's talk about the durability of the toe cap and such. This big rubber toe cap that is kind of iconic for Converse held up pretty well. I think, the little line, you can see it better on this one, the little line right here, that wore off in about the first week. So if that gives you a frame of reference, that's a pretty small amount of rubber, and that wore off in a week of doing kick flips and getting used to the shoes. The side part never really got a hole in it. It just wore down and it lost some tread, and you can see here the blue line got kind of broke up. That's a hole. That's blue. So the blue line kind of broke up, and then this big, like the textured part, you can see it better on this one. The texture here, that wore off really fast over here. Going back to the whole width of the shoe and my feet being wider leads us to jumping down stuff in the insoles in these shoes. And these insoles sucked, but I already took them out before I actually jumped down anything big. I know, the biggest thing I can do is a 4-stair, and it's not regular stairs, it's a little bit wider, 2 inches wider. And so that pretty much hurt when you take the insoles out, just so your feet can actually feel somewhat comfortable in the shoes. So basically my insole was just the sole of the shoe, and then the little glue stuff on the inside. And my sock, that helps too. But the main point is the insoles were really skinny from the beginning. That's the heel, that's the toe, and they're squishy, but they just didn't impact. They didn't absorb any impact. So I tried to put my own in before, and that didn't work either because they're too wide. The other big problem with these shoes besides the width is the laces. These laces broke in about an hour. So basically, $1 to $2, I think is what a pack of laces costs. That cost me an hour. So there's somebody here. We're good. So basically, the laces broke almost instantly. They didn't have any problems. And then I was dumb and tried to glue right here to make the next set of laces last a little bit longer. And that basically made this part of the shoe more durable, which is good. It needs to be, because as you can tell, where I didn't glue it, literally tore the shoe in half with practicing heel flips, which I'll get to later with the heel part. But it basically made the shoe, it felt smaller on my foot, and so it didn't really impact the laces not breaking at all. It just kind of wrecked the shoes. So, what is happening? Dude! Basically, I wrecked the shoes after I got a good use out of them, but it's still, they're not great skate shoes. I'll just say that. They're not meant to be these aren't like the actual Converse skate shoes. These are just plain Converse, and I think that is the problem with them. I had these laying around, and because we're on quarantine, we didn't want to go out and buy shoes when I wore out my last pair. So I just grabbed my worst set of shoes like this, you know, with the flat bottom and stuff. So, yeah. Going back to the heel part, this actually didn't tear. It tore the outer layer, but there's another layer in there. And then I think it's because there's like a heel cup in there made of plastic or something. I don't know what, probably plastic. But I think that gave a little bit more support to my foot, so that was good. And it like locked my foot into the shoe when I was doing flicks and stuff. I cannot talk today. So that was good. I liked the heel. It felt good. And then when I started ripping the shoe down the middle like this, I had to stop because I destroyed my socks. The flick of the shoe. So I was talking about doing kick flips earlier on, and how long this little red rubber stripe thing wore off. And the flick is actually pretty inconsistent. Sometimes it feels like way too grippy and you can't control it. Like you can't physically slide your shoe on the grip tape hard enough to get it to actually move. And other times it feels like you're just doing this, you know, like it doesn't grip at all. I experienced the same thing with the sole. The sole was occasionally really grippy and also occasionally slippery like ice. And I mean, it didn't wear out. There's no holes in the sole or in the heel down here where you do stops and stuff. But it just didn't grip. And so that was the biggest struggle, was getting used to the shoes, and the way they flicked was really, really hard for me, and it took forever. So that's my shoe review of these. I would not buy them unless they're the actual skate shoes that Converse makes, where they're all suede and stuff. Oh my gosh, all the people are coming right now. And then, speaking of shoes, I'm going to skate these Adidas Sambas next, and I know that these are soccer shoes, but they seem like they're going to make pretty decent skate shoes. For my ride over here, I really haven't gotten to test these out that much. I basically did an ollie in them in my driveway yesterday to prove to myself that these were decent shoes. And then the ride over here proved that the arches in this are really, really tall. And I think the concave of your board has something to do with the way that feels. But other than that, it felt pretty good. And there's no lace damage so far. But there's like a suede toe cap here. And then the whole shoe is leather. So I think it'll last a little bit longer than the canvas did, like here. But we'll see. It's also a cup sole, it's not vulcanized. So we'll see how it goes. Speaking of that, let's have a test because I brought my other board. Kickflip test. How is it that I land the first one, but not the second, third, fourth, or fifth, I think? Okay, so the first impressions of the new shoes, the Adidas, I think they're pretty good. There's a little bit less board feel just because it's a cup sole and not vulcanized, and also there's actual insoles in them. but they flick pretty well. It's pretty consistent. They're actually a lot lighter too. They feel lighter on your feet. I think because the Converse have that huge rubber toe thing, it flicks less well and less consistent, but it is more durable. So I'm assuming that the sambas will be less durable but more consistent. Well, there's stairs up there, and I think there's a 4-star up there, but I'm gonna have to hop this fence. Oh no! My phone's in that one. This might not be that good of a spot. That's a big crack, and it's like down. Really hard to pop off of. Okay, so what you saw in a few clips of skating was about an hour to me. Something happened with my shoulder, or I would have skated more, but damage report on the shoes is a little bit up here. It's a little bit fuzzy because that's like shiny leather, not suede. And then the stitches are coming down a little bit down here. I did a boatload of kickflips to try and like get them in, and you can get them in, lock them in. And there's a little bit of a curve there. It's not too bad. Yeah, same with up here. It's a little bit fuzzy. I didn't try many heel flips, so there's a little fuzzy bit there and there. But honestly, I think that's just the finish of the shoes wearing off, because, like I said, I've had these shoes for a while. I just haven't skated them yet. And so from walking and rubbing the heels together, there's spots there. And that's what these, like, up here look like. And there's one in between each stripe. And so I'm not really worried. The toe cap seems to be doing pretty good up here. So I'd say skate them. The only thing is the arches in the shoes are really tall with the board, because normally when you're skating, like, the board kind of pushes up right there, and then to have the board pushing up, and I don't know if you can see this, you probably can't, but there's like a huge arch thing there, and so it's a little bit high for me, but I say skate them. I think they're pretty good. Though they are a little bit chunky. I think they're just coming from these, like, skinny little, like, you can put them in your pocket shoes, to actual, like, shoes. They're a little bit chunky and they're a little bit stiff. And like I said, I've had these for a while. They're broken in, like the leather's soft and everything. But the soles, the cup soles, really, it's solid. I think that's because they're actually soccer shoes, but